Hey guys! So, after not playing Zero AD for like almost 2 weeks, I got to play 2 games today against tom0ad, who is one of the OG Zero AD YouTubers. And yeah, his rating is 1359. He's playing as the Seleucids. I'm playing as the Iberians, and my rating is 1329, so just a little bit lower than his. So I'm gonna pop this on to 2x to start off, I think. So, we have, hang on one second. Let me just see if I can, cause we're getting a little bit of lag. And I wanna see if I could, yes, okay. So I'm quitting Hades. So that's what has been obsessing me over the past couple weeks. New game. I'm probably gonna upload a video of me playing it tomorrow. So yeah, I have 6 women on the berries, horse gathering the chickens, usual shit. He has 8 on the berries already, so he's a little bit ahead of me. He probably put his initial 4 women onto berries. I put everybody on wood to start off, and then send the ensuing 10 women after that to go gather berries, and then back to wood after that. He's also collecting the chickens, which is the only sensible thing to do, really. I guess you could scout if you're going for an early cav raiding strategy and skip the chickens under that circumstance, but even then it's iffy, you know? So he's got his first storehouse up. He's just finishing up with these trees around the Civ Center, and he has not studied the wood upgrade yet. He never got the berry upgrade, which is interesting. He has extra berries here, extra berries here. Yeah, the berry cutting upgrade. The berry upgrade allows you to gather 50% faster. So if you have, I think it's always worth it personally, but certainly if you have some extra berry trees around the base that, you know, oh, plus he's got a bunch more bushes here. Yeah, he should have gotten a berry upgrade for sure, but he is getting the wood cutting upgrade. He's also got a lot of hunt around the base that he could theoretically train some cav, and especially because it's right by these. Oh, and he's got more berries over here. I don't even think I had that. But, yeah, so now they should have built another farmstead, I think, because they're walking a very long distance. I think that he might have let them finish the berries, and instead of going idle, they just went to this tree. That might be what happened. So yeah, I had several berry trees around my base as well, so I have a farmstead over here with 3 women, because I think these apple trees are 5 women to a tree. So I have 9, okay, so I guess not. I guess they're 10 to a tree, or 9 to a tree, or something like that. But they just finished up with their tree. Hopefully I don't leave them idle for too long. There was another berry tree over here, and I have such a surplus of wood, and I was only collecting berries with a total of 18 women that whole time. So it really shows you how, with the berry upgrade, how fast you can gather berries. I haven't had to build a single farm yet, and I'm building them leisurely because I did, I had too many women on berries, actually. I should have just had 10 that whole time, and it would have been sufficient, and my food would have been coming along right at the same rate as my wood if I had done that. I also trained, I think, 2 groups of 4 cav. Yeah, 2 groups of 4 cav, because once those berries were finished, I wanted some food income to be coming in. I actually didn't need to build these 3 farms at all, because just as the women were finishing the berries, I was making these cav, which could have kind of, they're hunting, especially with a farmstead so close and all of this hunt around here, that would have pretty much equaled the same rate of about 10 women gathering berries. So I could have just switched over. Oh, okay, my cav went scouting and his followed it back to my base and I killed it. But yeah, once those 10 women finish gathering berries, if you have this level of hunt around your base, you can buy yourself another minute before you have to build farms, especially if you're floating food at that point, because these farms cost me a lot of wood and it's slowing me down. Now I'm caught up. But yeah, see what I did was I actually took all 15 women off of the farms after they built them, and I sent them straight to wood because there was already a surplus of food, and with these cav gathering it, yeah, realistically, they didn't need to be farming at all. But if I had waited to actually build the farms, I would have saved on some wood during that time. I could have got my barracks up a little bit earlier for sure. This is a very late barracks. Let's see. Tom does not have a barracks yet either, so we're good. We're on a similar track. He is up to 95 pop while I'm only at 73, but I've been using a new strategy where I only build women or soldiers one at a time out of each building. And I find what this allows is for me to be steadily floating about 500 to 800 food and wood for the whole early to middle game. And normally floating resources is bad, but in this case, if you're floating about 500 to 800 at all times, it's actually a really good, it's a sweet spot, because that 500 to 800, more like 400 to 600 realistically, but basically that food and wood that you're floating, where normally if you're really maxing out your pop early on, you're down to the wire, your food keeps dropping below 100, same with wood early game and mid game, but But yeah, if you actually allow yourself to not worry about your pop so much, especially if you're getting raided, if you don't worry about the population so much in early game, and you float some resources, then you have enough to get the upgrades as they come. You know, as soon as you get to phase 2, you can get that wood and food upgrade if you do it right, you know? And you could also get the wood and food upgrade, the first ones early on, you know? If you kind of pop units out of your buildings a little bit slower. Yeah, so your population ends up kind of low for the beginning of the game, but since you can get the upgrades faster, you kind of have an exponential curve of, you know, how many resources you're getting, and, you know, you can keep up, like, building another barracks early on. You can kind of get those upgrades quick, and then by the time you reach mid-game, like, right towards the middle of phase 2, you're at a phase where you can build your forge, get all of your forge upgrades, you know, all your wood and food upgrades, all that stuff. In theory, if you play it right, you should be able to get them. I kind of faltered around mid-game. I'm keeping, like, he's been 20 pop above me for, like, a good few minutes at this point, and he's not, you know, you notice he's not growing that gap too quickly. We're still only about 20 apart, but slowly but surely now we're 30 apart, and he's building a military colony over here. So let's see how his base is going. He now has 3 barracks, and see, he's not fully utilizing all of them. He's doing 3 at a time out of 2 of them. It could be 2 and 2 and 2, and you'd get the same thing a lot faster, and you'd be, you know, fully utilizing the 3 barracks. Because, okay, so now he's doing it. Yeah, you should always, if you have more buildings, if you're not producing from all of them, it wasn't even worth it to spend all those resources to build them. So he made a big leap forward into the center of the map, and our borders are now touching. So I noticed that as soon as he built the military colony, I noticed his territory, and I built a stone tower, and I fully garrisoned it, and I kind of moved my soldiers a little bit back from there. Yeah, I'm moving them kind of towards this wood line. But I noticed I had been housed for a long-ass time, because as soon as I saw his territory get close to mine, I got distracted, and I was, like, busy building the tower, and I forgot that I was completely housed, right as that was starting to happen. So I built 2 emergency houses. I'm realistically going to need to build more, though, because, yeah, I'm about to be housed once again. He's now 50 pop ahead of me. In terms of the military upgrades, I have all 4 of them. He has more of the eco upgrades, though, because I was a little bit sloppy in my opener. I was floating a lot of food towards the very beginning, and I didn't take the appropriate measures to, like, catch up in terms of that. But, yeah, I noticed he's floating wood, so he could have a lot more on metal right now, and he just got his 2 more upgrades. But if he was focusing a little bit more on metal at this point, then he would be able to get the upgrades faster, and he would be able to have champions by now, for sure, because he developed a lot faster than me. So now he's got an elephant stables going up. This is not going to be pretty. And I moved my guys all the way back to this wood line. There's also additional metal here, which I should take advantage of, and I just got to phase 3. Right now I have my initial metal miners, and I think that's it as far as metal goes, unless yeah, it looks like I only have those initial metal miners, so hopefully I pull some of these onto metal. But I think I was so worried about preoccupied with him like right up on my base that I probably forgot to what do you call it? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I forgot to diversify my resources, and that actually turns out to be a fatal flaw that I made in this game, or a fatal error I made. I left only 4 people on wood, and my wood is relatively down to the wire right now. So I decided I would I don't know why I did, but I decided to attack at this point. When realistically, if I was thinking about it, I knew my development was slower than his at this point in the game. That was very obvious to me. He reached phase 3 way faster than me, so I figured he was probably ahead in terms of pop too. So now he has catapults, he has fucking 5 of them, but he's going for a lot of non-essential buildings, I noticed, with these elephants. And he sent the elephants in first, which, if you're gonna send the elephants in, at least send some soldiers in to accompany them. Also, these catapults, instead of targeting the houses, they should be targeting the soldiers. They could mow through those in no time with 5 of them. But I took care of the elephants. I sent my whole army to do so. And I should have left some people on wood. I even took because it was an emergency, I guess. I also lost a lot of people in that first fight, although he lost just as many. But I panicked and I took everybody off of metal. And he's still bombarding. He's kind of letting these catapults, but I guess he's focusing on this barracks now. But I'm trying desperately to get a temple up because we each have 20 kills, but I didn't notice it was so even at this point. And my population is very much caught up with his. And I have the military techs on my side. So that's a really good thing. I got the temple built because I did have a good few injured soldiers. But notice, I'm really mad at myself at this point. Empty metal mine. Empty metal mine. The storehouse was right there and everything. I could have just left 10 people, left 15 people. I could have not attacked. I could have kept gathering wood. I guess he ended up attacking with the elephants. So I was kind of planning on not attacking, but I attacked a little bit before that, I think, when I shouldn't have. And yeah, he already took out one of my barracks and the other one's on the way. Yeah, I just didn't leave people on resources. So basically, by taking everybody off of all of the resources and throwing them into the fight early on, I was able to kind of keep up with him. But it's like I needed those extra soldiers from the resources to outnumber him, basically. Because his pop was so much higher ahead of mine, he probably was able to, yeah, he still has plenty of people getting wood, even though he's floating a shit ton of it, so they could all be doing something completely different. They could be getting metal. These guys are, but yeah, he needs more people on metal for sure, especially being as far in the lead as he is. But I am doing a good job to even it out, but now he sends this ram in. I do have a shit ton of swordsmen, but it would take them a bit to catch up, I think. Okay, so here's my mistake. I sent all of my swordsmen, all 63 of them, to attack this ram, and I let just the slingers go into this battle alone, so he's able to... I vastly had the numbers in this fight, but he was able to basically outnumber my skirmishers who were fighting alone, plus their range, so they need a meat shield in front of them. Even a swordsman, would do the job. And I had 63 of them, so that's plenty meat shield, plus, they would have been doing most of the damage because swordsmen are very fucking strong units. So, see that one ram, I could have sent 5 swordsmen after it by the time it could actually get to the civ center and destroy it. And they would have maybe busted through a wall, but I would have kept those other 50 swordsmen for this fight, and now, instead of him having way more units than me and my units are about to die, I would have actually come out on top, or it would have been pretty fucking even, I did finally remember to leave some people on wood. Somehow, I remembered to put people on metal, but I only put 7 of them on. I guess it's because I was spread so thin. These women need to get back to farming. I don't know what happened to them, but yeah, so now he's sending a big fucking angry group of men into my fucking walls, and the women, the 20 women who are just standing there, are just gonna get slaughtered because this is already full. I have to send my whole army all the way back. I do have a hero now. Do I have, okay, and then I took everybody off metal again, and I still have half of this. No, I have I have 15 metal. Or no, 303. I'm blind. But yeah, I don't have anyone on metal, and I had to take everybody off wood as well because this was like an emergency, right? So I had to send everybody into battle. Now I only have, minus the cav, minus the hero, I only have 53 infantry units left. I was able to finish them off, but I only have 20 women left, so now I'm making them 5 at a time. And yeah, not looking good. I have nobody on, I have nobody gathering resources. So I'm able to actually put up a fight here because I have these cav. I trained a bunch of cav. I made a bunch of kind of emergency stables back here. I made like, what, 4 of them? 5 of them? Which is like bare minimum, you know? But he killed both my barracks. So at that point, like, I can only train fucking soldiers from the civic center. That's repopulating the farms with women. So I can't mine now. I can't chop wood now. Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what with this tower. Yeah, I have 20. Okay, so I have like 1 fire cav. Yeah, 1 fire cav that I was able to build, and then I completely ran out of metal. Now I'm out of food, wood, stone, and metal. Yet I'm still managing to put up like a relatively good fight. Katie's only 8.4. And climbing, surprisingly, but he really he's pulling punches at this point because, I mean, where are all his units? Yeah, he decided to garrison so many units in these front line buildings. Like, he could have kind of, he could have had less people by the front line, but I guess he needed those people to defend the front line from, like, all of the units I have left in the game. But yeah, I'm, like, trying to fight him off because the problem is, like, I still have 21 swordsmen and 7 skirmishers, but, the most of my fighting force is cav. You know, that's what's really doing the most damage and sucking up the most damage. So I should have not fought at all, which is like the moral of this entire game. But I should have not fought at all, and these guys, like the little infantry I have left with the inability to make more other than from the civ center, and I don't have enough to build a barracks. I have no stone, 350 wood. So like, yeah, these guys desperately should have been gathering resources. So at this point, I meant to garrison my hero inside of this because he has an upgrade like specifically related to garrisoning in a building, I think. Yeah, plus 75% arrow count. So it could have turned this tower that I took into like an OP-ass tower. I think, okay, so I do get him in there. Yeah, look how OP this tower is right now. Look at all those fucking arrows. It's insane. Okay, 3 rams. I think I gave up soon. I love the tactic of diversifying, having both an arsenal and an elephant stable, you know? To like, cause it's like your swordsman might be by the elephant and your fucking, skirmishers might be by the rams, you know? Like, if you're trying to defend that. I mean, realistically, it's difficult to defend. You can see the one little flaming arrow being shot. I managed to take down the elephant. And I got the KD up to 1. That's fucking crazy. 271 to 271. That's fucking crazy, yo. I guess that would make this an interesting game. Because it was like, the attack was strong, but my defense was pretty fierce. And all I have left are women. Apparently I have 12 infantry somewhere. Yeah, I resigned. I really fought it to the last fucking soldier though. That's fucking crazy. Let's look at the summary. So the thing that surprised me when I saw this chart was that for the first like 5 minutes of the game, I was actually ahead of him. I think it might have been my eco, maybe my upgrades. And I think it came from that strategy of like, what do you call it? Less population, but somehow it ends up, you know, I don't know why I was ahead of him in the beginning. Maybe like very early on. I think early on I played the berries very well, and like, you know, phase 1 shit. And I think berries, and I don't know, I must have done something right. But yeah, then you see he overtakes me, and the distance between us kind of stays like relatively similar. I guess it slowly is increasing, but at a really slow rate, which was cool. This is interesting. That's his ego score. Yeah, he had, see, that's the thing. We started out with like really solid ego, but my ego got fucked up starting in phase 2 and on from that, and I didn't devote enough people. I devoted everyone to battle, you know, and that's why you see these like quick jumps in my fucking specifically like that one in my total score, because that factors in like the KD and shit like that. But the longer the game went on, like my lack of putting people on eco, for lack of a better word, just slowed my economy down to a grinding halt. But oh yeah, I was gonna show you guys another game. Okay, so this is also me and Tom, and yeah, he wanted to do a rematch, and I was like, oh great, so I can get my ass kicked again. I didn't say that, but I was like, yeah, maybe a 2v2, you know, like maybe I can be on your team instead of like getting my ass handed to me by you. But he was like, I honestly prefer 2v or 1v1. And I was like, okay, let's go. Rake me over the coals. But yeah, so I guess we'll see how it went. Really similar map. I don't know if it's the same biome. I think it's a slightly different biome. I could be wrong about that though. No, you're fucking kidding me. Okay, my phone just shut off, guys. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let that charge for a while, and I'll just talk to you guys. So yeah, he's gathered. I'm getting the berry upgrade. He is once again foregoing the berry upgrade, Tom. I do not understand, I must say. We have berries here. These are kind of beyond the pale, but we have berries here. We have a lot of hunt, but you know, sometimes I just don't worry about cav in a game, because sometimes I will play a game in such a way that like, in theory, if you're utilizing cav like hunting early on, that means you should have like a food boom, and you should kind of be able to either build a lot more cav or get your population higher than you normally would early on. But sometimes, because I'm not used to the build order of using cav, I'll do that and I'll get that extra food early on, but then by the end of phase 1 I'm like faltering, because the build order is different when you're utilizing cav as well, and you have to remember to like keep telling them to hunt, shit like that. So oftentimes, even in a map with more hunt, I will end up in a situation where I just won't even do cav, even when like it would be smart to, even on that map with like the elephants and shit like that, you know? But I am trying to flex my cav reflex a little bit more, and kind of find myself a build order utilizing those those cav. Damn calves. Oh, you see the calves on that? Okay. So, yeah, lots of extra berries. Still kind of finishing up with the first ones. I'm sorry. That calves joke was really funny. I thought so. I don't know. Maybe not. Like, because calves, like, you'd be complimenting a woman's calves or a man's, but like it's another layer of funny, because like you would never, like, calves aren't like necessarily the sexiest. Like, I guess on a man it could be like, ooh, them calves, you know, like he got like muscular calves or whatever, and that could be like an attractive feature. But it's also funny because calves sound like calves, like cavalry. Get it? Okay, so we're going in on this wood line. This time I'm still doing the build them one at a time strategy, but I'm keeping up with him in terms of pop. He got himself housed, And I got myself the wood upgrade. I don't have the farming upgrade yet, and I'm just now transitioning to farms, and I think I'm doing that transition a little bit late, to be honest, because I have all these people on wood. I'm finally pulling some off onto farms, but I have all these peeps on wood, and my wood is already ahead of my food by quite a bit. Yeah, see, there's a problem. I need to... Okay, so are there any women here? There's 25 women. I need to immediately strip all of them off of wood and pop them onto farms, because I'm floating so much wood currently. Did I at least get the... I still haven't gotten the farming upgrade, which I could easily do because it only costs like 200 wood or 300 wood, you know? Okay, so I'm finally getting that, so that's a good thing. I'm utilizing some of that excess wood, and yes, I built 2 barracks this time. So, yeah, I noticed I was floating that wood, and I was like, okay, like, what do I do about this fast, you know? Okay, still 25 women on wood. I need to, like, really, like, arrange it so that those women are on food. Because, right now, I'm just floating so much wood. I think, though, you know, I think it might be a good idea because I am building up a pretty big surplus of wood right now, but once I take those 25 women off, or now 30, I'm only going to have 26 people on wood, which compared to 25 plus 30, compared to 55 on food, that amount on wood isn't ideal, you know? So I'm building up the wood a little bit quicker, but I think I'm getting a little carried away here. I'm at 2,000 wood and less than 250 would tell me I'm in phase 2. I've not even made it to phase 2. That is crazy. But look, I'm actually ahead in terms of population. That is fantastic. Oh my god. 124 to 117? Oh my god. That's fucking sick. Look at this fucking wood chopping. Yo, what are they doing? There you go. I got a little mad at myself for a minute there. So yeah, now we're like well onto metal as well. I'm up to 630 metal and getting some stone too. And yeah, now like a little bit into, just as I'm going into phase 2, I already have, this is crazy, 48 women on farms and 47-ish units getting wood as well. And almost 2, I would have had 2 metal mines filled up, but I switched all these guys onto stone because I noticed I was already floating a lot of metal. And we don't have the phase 2 wood cutting upgrade yet. We don't have the phase 2 farming upgrade yet, but we did just get to phase 2. So it's a really late phase 2, so let's get some phase 2 buildings built. Got a market going up. Do we have a forge? Yes, we have probably 2 forges going up, yep. And Tom has now decided to take a little bit more of a passive strategy, building his military colony, his expansion out to the side instead of directly dead center of the map. I think he probably wanted to claim this metal, I'm guessing. But I don't know, he hasn't even started mining. Okay, so that's a problem, you know? So he got to phase 2 way earlier than me, but I am still ahead in pop. And also I did a really, like, I was on it in terms of not getting housed during this game. So I noticed, okay, so yeah, I noticed there's some action going on over here. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take everybody from the wood and I'm going to put them all right up here. So that if he attacks, you know, he's not going to catch anyone lacking, you know? And I'm like, okay, fuck it. Let's go defense tower because it looked like he did claim this area here, but again, very passive posturing. I don't know that I would have put it here. I think I would have faced it towards my base, you know, because now I'm able to get this one right here out onto the front line. He was able to get one too, but I've kind of, I mean, either of us could theoretically use the wood line, but he can't use it where he built this storehouse here anymore. So now I got 6 stables going up all at the same time. I diversified the builders onto each one because they build a lot faster that way. And, okay, it's 200 to 190. He did pull ahead of me in terms of population. So I'm noticing a few of my guys getting pulled away. Let's go 1.25, yeah. So I put some guys in the tower, and yeah, I kind of sent them away to build houses because I noticed I was floating a really good amount of wood. Also, I remembered these guys were idle over here after they finished building the stables. I do that a lot. I build my stables back, and after they reach the last stable, since they're so far from the front line, I forget about them and leave them idle. Also, this one's getting stuck on a house. Yeah, I kind of forget. Oh, you know why he pulled ahead of me? I was housed for a really long time there. That was a big mistake. That's why I'm building all these houses at once. And I think I am going to get the upgrade. Yeah, I'm getting the housing upgrade, so I don't have to waste as much time building houses, and so I don't accidentally get houses easily. So yeah, I need to maybe build the stables from the back forward next time, so it's easier to remember, you know. We have a fort going up from me. He has an arsenal. He does not seem to have a fort, though. Got a temple going up. This is going to be really important in the late game. Do I have a new cab coming yet? Okay, so I don't quite have the resources for fire cab. I noticed I had taken everybody off of wood for a minute there. Because I was floating so much, I took them off to build, you know. But I let myself run low on wood, so I'm building another storehouse. That's really the only resource I'm low on. Tom's floating tons of metal. I wonder, he doesn't have a fort, I think. Can he train champs from the barracks? Yes, he can train champions from the barracks. He now has 2 catapults, and he's going to make a huge mistake. He's going to let these catapults roll right up and walk up to my fort. So now I know about their existence, and I'm sending everybody, I send them to drop off their resources first, and I'm sending them to attack those undefended catapults as fast as they can. And he's now brought a military force out to respond, but my numbers are way greater, yet I'm still running away because I didn't want to fully engage him at that point. I had my full army up there, so running them away only gave him the chance to concentrate his forces realistically. Luckily, I do vastly outnumber him, and he is still trickling them in little by little. So, okay, huge mistake, Zephyr. You left all of these units on fucking... Left them all on fucking... stand your ground. Okay, thankfully... yeah, I left them all on fucking stand your ground. Watch, they're gonna kill one. Okay, I finally took them off stand your ground. No, some of them still are. That's fucking ridiculous. So a lot of them are hitting and then just standing there after the first enemy dies. But I think I finally took them all off, thankfully. Because that fight, I could have finished a lot more of his people a lot quicker. But my KD is still 2.7, so I'm pretty good for now. I also now have Fire Cav joining the fight from the stables. Very OP. Most OP unit in the game, for sure. I mean, unless somebody can put forth another unit. What if we add buildings into the mix? Tell me in the comments if you think there's a more OP unit in the entire game other than the fire cab, but buildings count, you know? So like a fort is really OP in the sense of, I mean, really buildings are pretty balanced, you know? I guess you could say the Civic Center is OP because it does a little bit of everything and has a lot of hit points and gives you territory. I mean, okay, what's more OP, Fire Cab or the Civic Center? Oh my god. So I'm ahead of him in population, but only by 10, although I've killed a lot more of his units than he has of mine. I'm powering my phone back on right now, so might be able to get some video in a second. Yeah, mowing through these archers, and yeah, I've been reinforcing. I got the wood needed for fire cap. I just decided to put everybody on wood so I could kind of catch that up. But yeah, Now I'm low on metal, actually, which I did make a mistake of not putting people on this metal mine until just now, till I noticed I was so low on metal. After this, I never even finished this metal mine, so I made the same fucking mistake in this game that I made in the last game. I forgot to gather metal, you know, especially towards the late game. I had almost no one on metal. So hopefully I correct that mistake and I send, okay, it looks like I send a bunch of people who are, I guess, gathering wood over here to this metal mine, but I forgot to fucking build a storehouse, my idiot ass. So, yeah, 112, and I'm moving in. He's down to 142. So I think he is going to resign shortly. I think we were having a brief conversation at this point. He was saying, I think I'm pretty much beat. And I was telling him GG's, basically. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I go in for another attack before he pulls the plug. But yeah, so compared this game to the last game, slightly improved in terms of last game I had no eco at all. This one I have a pretty much perfect amount for having. I don't have the last wood upgrade, so a not quite perfect amount people. Well, it's the perfect amount. I just don't have the upgrade. And I have one metal mine full. I should have had 2 full. But it's just way better in general than having none, right? Now I have 37 fire cav. I kind of had to put a pause to building them because I was running short on metal for a bit there. But after I occupied that metal mine, I realistically should have occupied both, like I said. But after I got that second one occupied, that first one occupied, I was able to build a few, like couple dozen more fire cav. And at this point with 36 fire cav and like good supplementary forces between. Oh, I also built slingers in this game, which I didn't do in the last game. So I have 22 skirms, 9 slingers, and 25 swordsmen. Pretty good balance, I would say. Yeah. I would say if you got swordsman, that would be as a meat shield, like as a melee unit. Swordsmen are like the more offensive melee units, whereas spearmen and pikemen, spearmen are the most defensive, pikemen are mid. Swordsmen very offensive, along with axemen, macemen, all that. So because they kind of absorb the least amount of damage, I would say you want almost equal parts swords with your ranged units. For pikemen, you want like maybe like 10 pikemen per 20 or 30 ranged units. For spearmen, you might want only like 5 spearmen per maybe 25 ranged units. I know my metrics were all over the place there. But yeah, because spearmen aren't really doing a lot of damage, but a few of them can absorb a shit ton of damage. Yeah, that's kind of the balance I would say to look for. But let's see. Yeah, so very close game, that one. Yeah, everything was kind of all over the place. He was ahead or I was ahead for the very beginning. Or no, is he red or blue? I'm blue. So he was ahead for the very beginning. I pulled ahead. He kind of slowed off somewhere. I pretty much only looked at myself during this game, so my bad, Tom. You should make your own video and do like your perspective. That'd be fucking tight. He starts to catch up, but he kind of falters again. Then he kind of shoots to the moon at kind of like midway through the game. And I take a little dip, but then I kind of shoot up and he slows off a little bit and we kind of separate out from there. I don't know what any of that corresponds to, if I'm being completely honest. The eco one is completely different. I was leading in the middle, he was leading up to the very end, but so okay, so you know what that tells me? He yeah, because our populations were pretty fucking even, to be honest. So that means what does that mean? That means he should have devoted less units to gathering resources. I know in the first game he was floating a ton of wood towards late game. I'm going to guess he made the same mistake here. I didn't really check though, so I don't know for sure, but he was gathering way too much of at least one resource. And just in general, he probably had a balance of way too many soldiers on resource gathering towards the end. If he had thrown everyone into the fight, because we were basically even in terms of population, he could have swung it the other way, I think. But because he kind of trickled his troops in, and also just where everything was placed on the map, he kind of gave me a window to kind of come in. I don't know, it's hard. I can't describe why. But yeah, like building his first defense tower kind of off to the side instead of like straight at my border, he could have kind of capitalized on that. And yeah, but I think overall he just had not enough people at the front line when, you know, they were needed. And I feel like that was also, he told me he forgot to build a forge. I don't know if he meant arsenal. No, he had built arsenals, but I know he did cop a couple of the military upgrades, but maybe he forgot to build an additional one or several additional ones that he would use to get upgrades in the late game. Maybe he just meant that he forgot the military upgrades. But yeah, either way, fucking great game, Tom. Great 2 games. I did not expect to win that second one, and I'm sure when we do the tiebreaker, I will not win that one. But yeah, excited to post this. Definitely go follow tom0ad's YouTube channel. He like got me into 0AD almost. I found the game on my own, but discovering his YouTube video, I only played single player, and I discovered his YouTube videos, and that's how I discovered the multiplayer world of 0AD and the community in general. So I have Tom to thank for that. Also, shout out Jim Kogan. That's 0AD Newbie Rush. Go follow him on YouTube as well. He posts awesome fucking videos, and always creative and clever with the titles. And sometimes he even remembers to turn the unit silhouettes on. But love you guys. It was a good game.